From the Ministry of the Presidency in Georgetown, this is This Week with the President.
Welcome to another edition of This Week with the President, a weekly news magazine which provides you with an in-depth look at the policies, programs, and work of Guyana's President. In the highlights this week, President commissions Independence Arch at Agricola. President wants holistic approach in the fight against vector-borne diseases, and Head of State outlines plan to improve the economy. Stay with us. Restoring the city of Georgetown to its former glory, improving drainage and sanitation, and taking steps to prevent vector-borne diseases are just some of the top priorities for the government as Guyana hits the half-century mark as an independent nation. President David Granger made these remarks on Friday when he commissioned the 50th anniversary Independence Arch at Agricola.
Georgetown is set to become a safe city once again. Citizens should not have to shut themselves in their homes on weekends afraid to venture forth because of unlit streets. Georgetown must become a walking city where people in the evenings can stroll with their families to enjoy the outdoors, can jog, or simply hang out with friends in our numerous watering holes. Safety and security are essential to enjoying the good life. Georgetown must be an ordered city. City wards, comprised mainly of orthogonal grids, allow for regularity and easy access. Avenues, alleyways, pavements, reserves, sidewalks, and streets must be unencumbered.
The President reminded that Georgetown is an important national asset. It is home to some of the highest offices of the land and is the country's central business district. Moreover, Georgetown is a growing city. It was at the time of independence a mere 6.5 square kilometers. Today, its boundaries have grown to 40 square kilometers with 51 wards.
Georgetowners reclaimed their capital on the 18th of March 2016. They were empowered for the first time in nearly 2 decades to freely elect a council to manage their city. What a difference that day made. Our capital city was mired in political mud for nearly 20 years. Things are different now, and our city must never suffer such neglect again, no matter which party is in office. Georgetown will regain its image as one of the Caribbean's most picturesque and pleasant places for residents and an attractive destination for visitors. It's a national icon, a city whose attractions and services allow everyone to experience the fulsome quality of life.
The arch was constructed by Banks DIH Limited at a cost of $20 million at Agricola East Bank Demerara, which is considered the entrance to Georgetown.
Even though the location has been shifted south of Torres Park, we still consider the area to be within our backyard, so to speak. This relocated national symbol will serve several purposes. Firstly, as a timely reminder of the meaning and intentions concomitant with the concept of independence, namely new beginnings, new horizons, a portal into the world of new opportunities and possibilities for us all. Additionally, Your Excellency, it is our fervent hope and indeed prayer that this symbol will serve as a beacon of hope and renewal to the citizens of Agricola and indeed the East Bank District, that hope does not indeed spring eternal in the human breast. And to our young citizens, may this arch represent to you that a doorway to opportunity is always open, provided that a full use is made of the opportunity when presented.
The arch is a permanent landmark demarcating the southern entrance into and exit out of the national capital.
The aim was to reinstall the original Independence Arch that was removed to facilitate the expansion of the East Bank Demerara Road in 2004. However, it was never reinstalled and instead disappeared. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure recently sought out the original arch, but unfortunately it was never located. Therefore, the next step was to create a completely new arch, and thanks to the wonderful generosity of Banks DIH Limited, this project received financing. A special thank you to banks for stepping up to the plate. This company has highlighted the importance of giving back, particularly at a time when there is much to celebrate.
The art symbolizes perseverance and hard work, and it is just a small component of the overall upgrade program that will be implemented along the East Bank corridor.
Independence in the 21st century signifies the sovereignty of our nation in an interconnected and interdependent world. It is for this reason, ladies and gentlemen, that the 50th anniversary legacy will be one of growth in capacity, transparent work practices, and a renaissance of creativity.
Implementing the necessary reforms and adopting new and improved ways of doing traditional things are just some of the measures that must be taken to develop Guyana's economy. The government has been paying much attention to the agricultural diversification and micro-enterprise development over the past few months, particularly at the regional level. These efforts are being spearheaded mainly by the Ministry of Business and the agencies that fall under its purview.
We have to look at business in a holistic way. That is why at the local government level, we have created some new tongues. And those tongues, what I call capital tongues, are meant to be the hubs for public administration and also economic development. In other words, if you were living in the Rupununi region or the Barima Waini region, you don't have to leave that region to look after your NIS or to look after your income tax or to look after your passports. So we're trying to make the region strong. Equally, the Minister of Public Security is going to put police divisional commanders in all of the regions. So you don't have one divisional commander in Evil Area or in Bartica controlling the whole hinterland. Every region will have its own police commander. So every aspect of public administration is going to be regionalized. And the economy is part of that. In Go Invest, in terms of the Rupununi, the chambers of commerce in Rupununi and elsewhere. And I believe that in months to come, you'll see much more activity on the part of private sector as well as government.
Right here in Guyana, it has become considerably harder to market products such as bauxite and rice at premium prices. This has resulted in slowing down of the economy.
On the one hand, I believe that the young people themselves have to stay in school so they are better qualified. And on the other hand, I think that investors must allow what I call micro-enterprises to flourish, particularly in agro-processing. I've been heartened. Recently, the indigenous communities have produced small items. I believe that there's a lot more scope for getting women and young folk into agro-processing and micro-enterprise. And that is the way forward. I believe that young people can look forward to employment in that regard. So those are my two main concerns, the getting more children in school and getting more young people employed.
While efforts are being made to promote small businesses, the government is trying to attract foreign investments, reaching out particularly to Guyanese diaspora and removing unnecessary red tapes to facilitate foreign investors. Additionally, President Granger has tasked Guyanese missions overseas to pursue economic diplomacy through their respective offices.
We want to sell more rum, we want to sell more rice, we want to sell more timber. At present, everyone knows that the Guyanese economy is still excessively reliant on the Six Sisters, sugar, rice, bauxite, gold, timber, and fish. And we expect that the Foreign Service, particularly the diplomats in those capitals, will be selling more. Every time I go out and meet somebody from Costa Rica or Panama, the president, I say, you want to buy some rice? And this is the job of our diplomats, to sell our products overseas. And in time to come, a year is a bit early. And these markets have to be tied up because people have to disengage from their earlier suppliers and re-engage with reliable local suppliers.
Last year, the government outlined plans to establish a Department of International Economic Cooperation to not only improve diplomatic and bilateral relations with other countries, but also to forge closer ties with the diaspora. In recent months, the Latin America and the Caribbean hemisphere battled with severe public health challenges from vector-borne diseases. Guyana was not spared the threats and risk of diseases such as Zika, as President David Granger emphasized the need for measures to be put in place to ensure that citizens, particularly women and children, are protected. The head of state said that Guyana can ill afford the human, health, social, and economic cost associated with vector-borne diseases, which in severe cases can be fatal.
Guyana, a country on the continent of South America, has nearly 3,000 kilometers of land borders with its three continental neighbors, Brazil, Suriname, and Venezuela. And we also have a 432 kilometer long coastline on the Atlantic. Legitimate intercontinental air travel, contraband smuggling, Guyanese tradition, as well as the notorious illegal backtrack practices to neighboring and foreign countries, global shipping transport, all lead possibly to the transmission of mosquito-borne diseases. The economic exploitation of the environment by mining, logging, trading, and tourism. Also, the importation of used tires and the increased human activity in commodity traffic at port towns such as Bartica, Charity, Kurivitan, Kumaka, and Purika all contribute to the possibility of invasion of new species into Guyana. International cooperation, therefore, such as we have with PAHO WHO, is necessary if we are to manage the changes that are taking place and if we are to combat the threats to our country.
Statistics recorded by the Ministry of Public Health revealed that during the period 2011 to 2015, there were 168,240 cases of malaria, 1,255 cases of dengue, and over 100 cases of filarial diseases. There were 9,044 positive test results for malaria, or 1 for every hour in 2015. 76.8% of the affected persons were between the ages of 15 and 49, the most productive years of a person's life.
Vector-borne diseases, therefore, must be eradicated at all levels, at the level of the municipality, at the level of the region, the RDCs, and at the level of the central government. Guyana has had some successes in combating these vector-borne diseases. They have, however, proven to be very resilient. At one stage, I'm sure a lot of Guyanese thought we had eradicated malaria, but it's back with a vengeance. We need to develop a much broader approach to combat this public health threat. That approach must involve a more careful management of the environment. Vector-borne diseases must be tackled as an environmental hazard. Vector-borne diseases are linked to human activity, and particularly in our country, to reckless and irresponsible environmental practices.
The President issued a call on regional authorities and municipalities to ensure that their public health facilities are operating in an efficient manner and to have a robust public health program that takes into account the peculiarities of the respective regions. As Guyana celebrates 50 years as an independent nation, the Ministry of Public Health partnered with PAHO WHO to produce a health report that details progress that Guyana has made in the area of public health from 1966 to present.
The data included in this report were gathered from health reports, statistical bulletins and databases of the Ministry of Public Health, other health-related documents, and interviews with key informants.
At the event, a number of persons received awards which were given based on the years of service, contributions, and efforts made in improving the lives of Guyanese through their service to the health sector between 1966 and 2016. Among the recipients are Dr. Shamdeo Pusad, Dr. Emmanuel Cummings, Reverend Noel Holder, Dr. Karen Boyle, members of the Cuban Medical Brigade, and staff of the West Demerara Regional Hospital. And now let's take a look inside the President's diary. During the week, President Granger met with the ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Suriname, Mr. Ernst Noorman. Representatives of the Ex-Police Association of the United States of America and the Canadian chapters, the Georgetown Mayor, Ms. Patricia Chase Green, and Town Clerk, Mr. Royston King. He also met with heads of the various agencies under the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Ministry of the Presidency, and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, which together have responsibilities for Guyana's natural resources, to assess Guyana's preparedness for the transition to a green economy.
The President's initiative was to call all of us together, and that would be the policy makers and the practitioners and the technocrats involved in the natural resources and environment sector. I thought indeed that the time was quite right to assess where we are and relative to where we would like to be, and I think aptly so now that we are about to mark the 50th year of our anniversary as an independent nation. It is obvious that the future of Guyana is going to be grounded in its economy being green, and that means one that is environmentally friendly, respectful of the environment, the patrimony of Guyana, and how things and our resources can be used in a sustainable manner. And so it's important that the different agencies and persons that are involved have a coordinated effort, because it's obvious that we are not hitting the mark. We are doing our individual best, and I think we're doing relatively well, but I believe that the cohesive and coordinated approach will give us close to a 90% success rate. So it's good that we were able to come together now.
Did you know that Guyana's head of state is also a numismatist? Well, he is. And last week he was presented with 2 50th anniversary commemorative coins to add to his impressive collection. Let's take a look.
I am something of an amateur numismatist, that is a coin collector, and I believe that for the coins that I have in my own possession for more than 200 years, they tell a story of the colonization of Guyana by the Dutch, by the British, of our engagement with the Eastern Caribbean Currency Board, and also by our own independence issues. So I feel very happy that now that we have a major commemorative occasion such as the 50th anniversary, we'll be able to give to our children and grandchildren something that they could remember this great event by, as a keepsake, a souvenir. And it helps to generate, not money, but it helps to generate pride, it helps to generate a feeling of belonging to the state of Guyana.
The coins were designed by the Bank of Guyana in collaboration with the 2 winners of the 50th anniversary celebration logo, Mr. Chris Taylor and Mr. Compton Babb. The $5,000 coin is struck in silver and plated in gold, while the $2,000 coin is struck in metallic alloy and plated in gold. That brings us to the end of this week's program. Thank you for joining me. For regular updates on the Ministry of the Presidency, go to our website www.motp.gov.ui. Like our Facebook page, Ministry of the Presidency, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MOTP Guyana. Do have a safe and productive rest of the week. Goodbye.